It's a great day, educators. Grab your favorite coffee, take a deep breath, and prepare to be catered to. It's a great day, educators. I am your host, Andrea T. Harris, Growth Agent. I advocate for the total well-being of individuals and educate on mindfulness, resilience, and self-care. Here at the Educator Show, we are dedicated to providing growth tools to educators, such as teachers, principals, mentors, coaches, group facilitators, and anyone providing information to a group of people. Our candid conversations involve the 4 E's of maximizing your life's journey: embrace, extract, evolve, and encourage. Educators, today I have the pleasure of having a conversation with Judith Rapley. Minister Judith is a life, relationship, leadership, and career coach. She is the founder and owner of JMR Coaching and Consulting Services, where she provides services through individual and group personal development sessions and programs. Last month, she published her first book, a daily transformational devotional for leaders titled Imperfectly Perfect, a 31-day transformative guide to healthy leadership that begins with you. She is the founder of her own nonprofit, You Matter, which is a youth development social impact model focused on intergenerational mentorship, community service, and global awareness. She is a transformational leader, a sought-after motivational speaker, and a change agent as nonprofit and emotional and wellness trainer. Judith is a therapist and social worker. She received a master's degrees in psychology and sociology from Columbia University. Judith's love for God and her sincere desire to make things better and make things happen, not just talk about it, is the fuel that ignites her passion. Educators, let's welcome Judith Rapley to the show. Hi, Judith.
Hi, Andrea. How are you?
I'm well, and you?
I am doing fantastic. So good to join you today. Thank you so much for the privilege and the honor to have this conversation with you and with your audience.
You are so welcome. So, Judith, tell the audience about you, like your passion, your purpose, just who are you?
Oh, wonderful. That's a huge question. Let me see if I can summarize that. Ultimately,
Right.
at the core, I'm with my people because ultimately, at the core, I would say I'm a teacher. I am that person that's been teaching since very young. And it doesn't matter what capacity or what field or what industry I've been teaching. I am that person, just like your intro said, that loves to embrace, help people evolve, and encourage them. And I do that through sharing both my own life experiences, but helping them too to extract reality from their own life. So I'm an expert in, I would say, leadership, personal growth, mental and emotional wellness, relationships. Those are the things that I'm currently really and truly passionate about.
Awesome. Okay, so I want to congratulate you for being a fellow author. Congratulations.
Yay!
Yes, I have published 3 books, so I understand the journey. Yes.
And you did it 2 times after the first time. Look at that.
Right. Right. The first time didn't stop me with the challenges. So yeah. Okay, so when did you first start writing and what inspired you to do so?
Okay, I've always been writing. I've always been a writer since very young. I'm that little girl who had the journal, writing all the stories. I carried all the journals and the diaries, for a very long time. And as I got older and I began to sort of be exposed to writing for more than just the audience of one, which was myself, I then began to use that writing and to use it for fodder or for information or content for what began a very early life of public speaking. So I began preaching at 7 years old, sharing that information there. I had youth groups where I would design programs and design speeches for those different opportunities. So that's where it began for me, sort of needing to write in order to speak. And so over the years, I realized that I've gathered a lot of information, a lot of things that I put together, a lot of content. And so then thus began me using it for other things like training, staff training, as well as using it in my work with my audience, my clients as well, when I'm working with them on one-on-one and the groups, into starting a blog on my website about 10 years ago, and then ultimately into this published writing, which I believe is going to be the beginning of many.
Oh, yes. Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about this 31-day transformative guide, Imperfectly
Yes.
Perfect. I had the pleasure of purchasing it last week, and yes, I wanted to see what it was all about. So I did a little glance because I want to really dive into it. I'm going to start the journey with it next month for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I did take notice of day 1 and day 31. And so
wow.
day 1, the beginning is marching on. And I'm like, marching on. And then day 31, let it go. Like, wow. Just those two phrases alone are very powerful. And so this is something that I personally am dealing with day 1, is being able to end things. Things that are not good for me anymore, or things that have taken its course. And so how often do you find people, it's like with educators, teachers, coaches, mentors, that have that challenge of letting things go, moving on, moving forward, marching on? How often do you find that, and what is something that you encourage them to release that and to move on?
It's interesting that I'm talking to this particular audience of educators or formal educators in some way, because one of the reasons that I decided not to become a formal educator as I was growing up, even though I had always had that passion for teaching, is that I knew at the time that I struggled with this very particular dynamic. I always would say, how can a teacher invest themselves, invest their love with students, and then let them go each year? And as a young person, that for me was the reason that I said, I can't do this in this way, because wherever I was in my own development, I was not able to consider how that would work out and how that would happen. So as I'm speaking to your educated audience today, I would say to them that the very dynamic that they have to exercise each school year or each semester, if they're higher educators, each semester is the same very thing we have to employ in our own lives on the personal level. That ability to let things go, which was the last one, or to march on, right? And again, it's hard, it's difficult, it's challenging. But as educators, you know intellectually that you have deposited what you have been able to deposit, that you have given what you've been able to give, and you have this sense of a growth mindset that moving forward, you have set the foundation for whatever else this student, this child, this person is going to do moving forward. We don't have that same thought and feeling in our personal life. A lot of us have been raised and reared and believe that things must last forever. And that if it doesn't last forever, then something is wrong. Someone's wrong, someone has messed up, or we have quit. There are some things that we need to quit.
Right.
And one of the challenges, I think, is that we haven't learned how to graciously and in a grateful manner to quit or let go. A lot of times we see ending things in a disruptive way. Somebody got to be mad with somebody. Somebody has to cut somebody out. And then we end what it is. But I think if we learn the skills and the strategies behind how to let go, then I think we would get more open and more available and more gracious in letting certain things go, in understanding time, in understanding seasons, and then moving forward.
Oh, yes. I laughed at that because my books, Seasons of Life, changed in the process.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Being able to embrace seasons, get what you need, and move forward. And knowing that there's a time and a purpose. You know, everything is not, like you said, built to last. Some things may last a long time, but everything is not like that. We are constantly evolving. Things are changing. The world is changing. Seasons change. Even if you look at a flower in its development, it has to go through a shedding process, a dying out process. It's releasing things as it's maturing. So definitely, that is awesome. Okay. Now, I love the format of your book. I've seen many devotionals. Even I have a 28-day devotional book. But I love this because it gives you an affirmation. It ties it to a scripture, then gives you a transformational activity, and then an opportunity to reflect on all of that. And like you said, it only takes a few minutes, and those few minutes will turn into something transformational. And that is so amazing. Just looking at the first few days and then the last day, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. I got to get my little journal ready and get ready for this journey. So, what does it mean to live imperfectly perfect?
That name I struggled with for a while. You know, I really truly struggled with the name because there was some discussions about whether my book should be titled Imperfectly Perfect or Perfectly Imperfect. But for me, there was something about wanting to land on the word perfect. Now, I know if you're a believer, you struggle about, no, there's none perfect, not one. If you go into the sort of like the understanding of that word perfect, you understand that there's a difference between the word perfect as we understand it in our English language and the word perfect as used in other places in the scripture that speaks to wholeness and completeness.
Exactly.
That's the perfect that I am speaking about in my book, Imperfectly Perfect. Starting with the understanding that we are and were created whole. We are and were and are created in a complete manner. That the work is already done. That we have everything pertaining to life for those who believe the scriptures, you know, and that level of foundation. So I wanted to remind us none of who we are becoming. No offense to Michelle Obama, because that's the other part of my book. But I wanted us to start first with that perfectly, land on that perfect foot, because we are already created whole. Now, the imperfectly, as I now point out to our first lady, the imperfectly is the part that we are becoming. Those are the things that we're still working through. Those are the things that we're still working out. Those are the understandings and the wisdom and the knowledge that we're still gaining that are very particular to each and every one of us. We're not cookie cutters. So I brought those two together for me, wanting to make sure we landed on the reminder that we're perfect, that the imperfection is what we have to deal with each day. The imperfection is what we're refining, but that we land back for me on perfect. That gives me the understanding that I'm not striving for this unknown, unreachable level of human perfection, but that I am already created perfectly. I'm created in the image of the God that I believe in, and that from there I am working out day by day the details. Yes. I'm being refined. I'm being elevated, you know, on the day-to-day process in my life, in my relationships, in my failures, in my learning. That to me, brought together, is what I wanted to remind us all of in my book, and as each person would go through this 31-day transformative process.
Amazing. Yes, it's a daily thing that we live out according to what God has already created us to be. And like you said, we work through that daily to land perfect. And so, yeah, that is awesome. That's a awesome reminder of, like you said, we're not this cookie cutter thing. It's not like that, but it's amazing how we evolve and we change, and it's all about our perception. Like Like you said, seeing ourselves as whole and complete.
Yeah. When we see that, then we have the energy, the motivation, the vision to then work perfection. If you study anything about the psychology of change, one of the things they tell us is that you can't grow from your weaknesses. You don't grow from your weaknesses. You're not strengthened from your weaknesses. You grow from your strength, and with that energy, with that motivation, you are then able to work on the areas that you need to evolve and grow into.
Wow. Just that statement reminded me of the scripture, how through our weakness he is made perfect. His strength is made perfect. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And that he'll bring us to perfection. That perfection that he has already designed us in. He'll bring us to that if we just sort of keep working the process, resting in that love. And that would help a lot of us, for example, Andrea, who are overperformers, who are doing so much, who are doing everything. We get to rest. We get to rest and relax in that perfection, and then let him do most of the work. As we rest in our weakness, that is our imperfections, we're able then to do and accomplish in our purpose and through our passions what things we're designed to do in this lifetime.
Right. Okay, so what audience do you think would benefit in reading your book the most?
What audience? Well, I started to talk about it right there, right? The person and the leader who works and serves others with excellence, but neglects themselves in the process.
Mm-hmm.
The person who has made, fortunately or unfortunately, they've made their passion sort of like their God in some ways. They think that in their performance, they are accomplishing what they're designed to do in terms of all that they are doing. The person who has forgotten how to take care of themselves, the person whose life is out of balance, the person who struggles with their imperfections, that's the person that I think will benefit more than others from this book. The person that finds themselves sometimes questioning, how can I on the outside, be this public success and helping everyone, whether it's as a teacher, as a minister, as a pastor, as a politician, as an advocate, how can I be helping everyone on the outside publicly and my life on the inside privately feels so run down? Right? My life feels broken. My insides feel broken. I won't say that we are broken because I have some controversial thoughts about just using the word broken. But my life might feel broken, right? My reality might feel broken. That's the person that I think would be helped with this towards resting, receiving, dwelling in that perfection, and then operating and giving from that place of their overflow once they have filled themselves back up again.
Yes, I had a conversation with a friend the other day about that, giving from the overflow.
Awesome.
We always want to give out of ourselves, but we're supposed to give from the overflow.
Right.
And then those that do give from themselves, like you said, how are you replenishing yourself?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what in this 31-day process it is my hope that it's not just, it just won't be like something that people do for those 31 days, but that there'll be adjustments to how these leaders, again, I use a very broad definition for the word leader. If you're a housewife and you're taking care of your 3 kids, you're a leader. You're developing their life, right? Or if you are someone that's a major CEO and you have 3,000 people under you or in your unit, that's a leader as well. So I use a very broad context because I believe that someone is always watching us. And with that thought, I believe that we're all leaders. So I agree. It is important that we prioritize and take action on our mental, emotional, and spiritual health, especially as we lead others, whether formally or informally.
Right. Okay, so what advice would you give to educators listening on how to live imperfectly perfect? If there was one thing you want to share with them today, what would it be?
I would offer them just the assurance and the reassurance of self-acceptance. Self-acceptance. Remembering that when we were created and designed perfectly, we weren't created as human doers, I like to say, but as human beings. Remember who you are.
Yes.
You are called to live out your passion from who you are. Yes, our educational pursuits are important. Yes, our our purpose pursuits are important. But before all of that was designed, you were created and designed to be this loved, beloved child of God, of the Creator. So I would invite them to first start with a place of self-acceptance, accepting themselves for who they are, where they are, recognizing that they are their most important tool or vessel, and begin from that place, and then find ways and opportunities to take care of that, to replenish that, to honor that. Look at the places where that is not happening, make adjustments, or look at where along the line they might have gotten their sense of work confused with their identity, and begin
that's
that.
powerful. that was powerful. The sense
I'm not what I do. I am not what I do. If I never helped another person in counseling, I never did another show, I never wrote another blog, I already am and exist just as a child of God, a child of, created by Him. That is it in and of itself. Right. The rest that comes from there. What I want to do, what I want to share, how passionate I get, how extra I get from all of that. Like, wow, based on what I've been given, based on who I am, I want to share these things. Not the other way around, but I cannot lie. There was a time in my life where that was my full existence, where I had to look at the thought, or I shuddered to think, if I don't do this, whatever the this was in my life, if I don't do this, then who am I? And I had to take a seat to look at that.
Yeah. So, Judith, do you have any upcoming events that you would like to share with our audience?
Absolutely. So my book came out in February, and I've been so excited sharing it. I'm happy to just kind of get around, and I'm excited to hear the feedback, even yours today, to hear about how you approached it, going from the first stage and the last stage. I have been so stoked and so thrilled hearing everybody's experiences around that. So to celebrate that, and because I've not had a formal book signing yet, I'll be having one on the 12th of April here in New York City, in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, off New York. I'm having it at a restaurant. We're going to have an elegant time of gala. It will be book signing celebration, workshop and author conversation, a lovely, elegant dinner, all in one. So I want to hear, for those who have already purchased the book, I want to hear about what their experiences have been, sort of implementing these perfect lessons in their lives each day. I want to share with whoever has not bought it what it's about, why they should purchase it. And I just want us as leaders to take a moment to celebrate, to pause, to have a good time, to have a dialogue and conversation about mental health, self-care, emotional health as leaders. So that's happening again on the 12th of April. They can go to Celebrating Imperfectly Perfect on Eventbrite, or they can go to any of my social media pages to find out about it, or they can contact me at judithrapley.com, and they can hear more about that celebration. That is going to be the first stop of a few. I'm looking at working on going to Chicago in June to do the same thing with my Chicago audience. And I'm also looking for other opportunities throughout the country to sort of share this conversation in intimate settings and having intimate dialogue about self-care, about leadership, about what it's like to be a healthy leader, that takes care of themselves holistically, so that they can give better and give more and pour out of that overflow that we just spoke about.
Kudos to you. That is amazing. I wish my schedule was free. I would attend this awesome celebration because I love New York.
Lovely. Well, hopefully, if I can't see you on this one, Andrea, then hope to see you at another time, or maybe we'll meet somewhere else in the country, as I said, because I'm looking to do a few of these around the country by the end of this year.
Awesome. Sure thing. Okay, so how can our listeners connect with you, and how can they purchase your book?
Awesome. So my book is available both at Barnes & Noble as well as on Amazon. And so they can just find it in terms of Imperfectly Perfect, Judith Rapley. And I like to spell my name because sometimes people say it Ripley, believe it or not, but it's Rapley, Rapley. So it can be found on the website. It can be found on both Amazon and Barnes & Noble, as I mentioned. They can contact me directly at judithrapley.com, and I can mail the book off to them if for some reason they're not able to go through the process on Amazon or on Barnes & Noble. And then, of course, on my social media, which is, the way that a lot of us connect and how you and I connected for this awesome opportunity and conversation. And that is Judith Rapley Life Coach on both Facebook and Instagram. So connect with me today. Let me keep you abreast of what's happening. Let me hear some of your questions and needs to see how I can add to what you are offering and adding, Andrea, and how we can complement each other, be in synergy, and ensure that our audiences are receiving all of which they need in order to live their imperfectly perfect lives. I also have a YouTube channel, the Judith Rapley Life Coach, and on Twitter, I think I'm Transform for Life. Yes, Transform for Life on Twitter. So reach out and let me know how, if you buy the book, how it has touched you, or anything else, and any other way that I can serve yourself, your family, your community, or your business in your transformation for life.
Amazing. Yes. Connect with her on one of these outlets. Thank you, Judith, for empowering us to have a growth mindset and to live imperfectly perfect.
Thank you so much, Andrea. This has been a wonderful opportunity. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for connecting with me. And I consider it an honor and a privilege to share with you and with your audience. And I look forward to us doing that in many different ways moving forward.
Educators, remember to subscribe to our newsletter at AndreaTHarris.com to receive personal development tools, updates on new projects, invitation to live events, and so much more. I hope you have received some information today that would help you grow through life. Remember to subscribe to the Educator Podcast, leave a review, and share with your fellow educators.